Hello, and welcome back to the Thursday Night Kissaten podcast. Thursday Night Kissaten is a podcast that we talk about Japanese TV shows, movies, books, and other pop cultures. We update weekly every Thursday night around 5 p.m. This podcast is written and hosted by me, Cordelia. Hello and welcome back to the Thursday Night Kissaten podcast. I'm your host, Cordelia. I have to say, it really feels like a holiday time now. Today, when I was walking the neighborhood, on my way home, I just saw so many Christmas trees in the houses. It's really here, the holidays, everybody. So, continue what we talked about the last week. This week we're going to continue to talk about the Asadora, the part 2 of Asadora 101. And just for your reference, this year, the Asadora, the first half of the year called Torani Tsubasa, was actually just be awarded as the most beloved TV series of this year 2024. So let's dive more. Let's look into more about Asadora and the reason why it got so popular and was the audience and the others. In 2018, when a survey was done and asked people in Japan that what does Asadora mean to them? And here is the 5 answers that got motivated. First, it's just a habit to watch this TV show since they're a child. 2, to be moved. 3, to add some rhythm to the ordinary life. 4, to relax. 5, to be encouraged. More than 40% of the Japanese family have NHK channel in their television. A lot of time, if you buy a TV in Japan with a Japanese brand, NHK is a must-have channel that is kind of being embedded with when you're a first time buying the TVs. Of course, now there's a lot of things about like paying the NHK channel. When the people are really receiving that letter to pay for it, they knew that they're actually being adult and doing adulting work to pay what they need to pay. 8:15 a.m. is the time to watch the Asadora, and its opening things became a signal for the whole family to be prepared for the mornings. And the 15 routines, the 15-minute segments have been podcast every weekdays morning, embodying itself into the daily routine of many Japanese households. And the past 6 decades, these dramas have been really resonated with the Japanese females navigating significant historical events, and usually highlighting the things about everything that can be encountered within 150 episodes. And each series runs for about 6 months. And the golden time of the Asadora was 1960s and 70s. And when people were sharing the stories about why this Asadora became part of their life, one of the interviewees was actually shared her experience that can be found in the 2018 survey that they did. She said that in my family, my grandmother, parents, and sisters would gather in the living room, making it a routine to watch the morning drama during the breakfast. And there were times when, as soon as the theme music played, and she has to rush to school. And then she said that we would watch the record episodes together during the dinner time. And she said her father running the commentaries became something that she actually looked forward to daily. Sometimes when her dad talks too much and her mom would protect us, I can't hear the TV show dialogue, can you just stop talking? And which is for her, this audience, her fathers would respond with a very funny smile on their face. And this was the typical things of her household. And even after moving to a big city herself for universities and living alone, this audience continued watching the morning drama almost every day. Asadora. It became one of her life, and also the things to remind her about her family life. There's always something to talk about on the dinner table, according to what she said. And a lot of people shared that it's just because it's so easy to watch, it's so relatable, it just makes them easy to have a conversation with other people. Asadora is not just a TV show, as we mentioned in the last episode. It is a routine. It is routines in more than 40% of the Japanese households. It's huge. That's why with the stories, that's why the topics and the core value of the shows is also need to be very representative and to touch almost ordinary people's heart. It has a very big responsibilities to fill, right? There's a big shoe to fill. So now let's talk a little bit more about the topic that Asadora usually were produced upon. So the themes of the Asadora often centered around the birth, growth, changes, journeys, separations, hardships, death, good days and bad days, and life changes, moving around, friendships and parenting, schooling, work, everything that is about life, that the theory is just all about experience a person, especially female protagonists, that may face from the birth to death. There's ups and downs, and a lot of ups and downs, and the key message Asadora delivers in life isn't just about easy, but there's a beauty in facing it. Sometimes it's very hard to digest, right? Like why life is already hard and why we're going through this. But this is the reason why, because in the recent years, many Asadora stories also reflect the social issues and make even more relatable and resonant, because they want the show to be resonant with the audience. That, for example, the recent theories have touched on the topics, of the gender equality, which we just mentioned. The TV show, one of the most beloved TV theories, talking about the first ever Japanese female lawyer that showed up in the history. And there is also the challenges faced by a single parent and the struggles of pursuing unconventional careers. The reason why they have to be put in front of people is because they want people to learn that, when you're having a privileged life, that there is people are suffering. Also, for those people who are suffering, kind of trying to build up something called hope. This is very different from, those English literature when I was reading when I was a little girl. Talking about Pride and Prejudice and all the other, books that I have read by Charles Dickens, all they're talking about is marriage, with the money, capitalism, and also how they break the hopes. Things like the Asadora is something that really gives people something called hope. One notable example is Hiyokko, or the little bird, which is aired in 2017, it focused on the economy challenges of the post-war Japan, and following a young woman who moves from the countryside to Tokyo in searching of her missing father. And this depicts the struggles of the rural communities and also the migrant to the urban centers and the challenges by facing a single female seeking independence during the time of great changes. The topic something like this, talking about there's 3 generations getting together, get together in the living room watching this, it definitely can resonate with this, the mom and the mom's generation to think, like, really to recall their memories. So all those things that they have experienced, especially during those big moment of historical period, it calls something of the collective community's memories. Of course, it's going to get popular, right? And another Asadora was aired in 2013 called Amajang. That one was actually talking about the story the Japan experienced during the 2011 March 11th huge earthquake. So it highlighting so much. These dramas, these TV series have just reflecting vote to reflect the challenging landscape of Japanese society, offering not just entertainment but also a mirror to the issues and then the conversation happening in the real life. Think about people actually watching those problems, people who never ever even thought about those issues and being present in front of them in their face and with their family. I believe that if people are open enough, they're definitely going to have some good conversations happen around the dining tables. This is the difference that I noticed between the Japanese TV and, well, I say the East Asian TV, especially Japanese TV series, different and between the Western world TV drama shows. There is some, I don't want to use the words educational there per se, but when the TV shows is talking about some particular topic, you notice that this is something that the media people, the creative people are truly want the society to bring these notions to the conscious level and stop ignoring it and start a better conversation. Not about Asadora, but in the past about all the things that we talked about, asexuality, the TV shows that was produced by NHK, and the single mother's challenges produced by NHK, it all actually trying to call the awareness of people of those minorities and start thinking about how to accept them, be open to the diverse, identities and sexualities, and also the situations, different class into their life. They want actually people to have more a conscious collective energy there. So Asadora is really somehow doing the same work. The embarrasses things, is bringing up the things like the workplace equality, gender equality, culture identity, and the family dynamic in the modern construct. And it's actually providing all the audience with a sense of connections and understandings. Usually in the Asadora, you won't just only have this one main female characters. You always will have a family around it, a sibling around it, people who are their neighbors, all from the different areas, or they're from a different generations, and they all usually there are several things that I saw this happen so many times that all come together in the house around a dining table. We're having a meeting to talk about their own experience and what they're thinking and their perspective on one common topics, and it actually is representing all the people in the society and their views and their perspectives on this thing. So whether it is and that's why, as I mentioned, it's a connection and also understandings. They try to help make everyone being heard, right? I think they have done an amazing job. And then another side of things I really need to highlight here is the music. Okay, all the Asadora's music is always wonderful. I'm not only talking about their theme music, like the songs, but also the background music. Asadora are often, played by the well-known artists and have a way of perfectly captures the emotions of each stories and each episodes and really become an icon in their own right. Asadora is a whole package. Sometimes when I don't know a very particular local culture when after I watched a particular Asadora talking about these areas and the culture, the cuisine, the peoples or their thoughts and their traditions in that area is very, very educational. I know it sounds very not liberal when I say educational, but sometimes we really learn a lot from all those productions, especially like Asadora. And talking about the cultural legacy of the Asadora is more than just a TV show, as I just mentioned, and it's actually its own cultural institution that reflects the value and history and the exciting moment of Japan. It serves as a bridge between generations and providing a lot of shared experience, like common reference points of war for family across the country. Whether it's the inspiring journey of a young woman overcoming the hardships in a big city, or just a simple a portrayal of everyday's life, this dramas recapture the initial of what it means to be preserved, to dream, to hope, and keep on trying, and to grow. In the recent years, the NHK has made an effort to modernize these dramas while still maintaining their traditional appeal. So, for example, that they have introduced more diverse storylines, highlighting various of the regions of Japan and their unique cultures, and focusing on the characters from different walks of life. It not only makes the show more relatable to the wider audience, but also, helps to promote the travel, the tourism, and the cultural pride within Japan. And as a region setting of the many Asadora theories have led to a boost of the tourism to those areas, and the fans visit the locations where their favorite scenes were filmed. A lot of them are actually filmed inside, but when I was watching the Tolani Tsubasa, I was really thinking maybe I should to visit Tokyo one day, as I'm not really a big fan of that city, but I still want to go, and I want to go on that bridge, and I want to walk the bridge, and to tracing the paths of the main characters from her female only high school, and all the way to university, and to see the river and see the bridge and see Tokyo, and to think about trace all the journey that she had. Another fascinating aspect of Asadora is the ability to bring people together. Just to mention that about how they bring families together. The shows have been a part of Japanese household for decades, and then creating a sense of nostalgia and the community for sure. I have to say, after the first episode, my friend reached out to me and she said, "You know what? You were right. My mom's favorite Asadora is also Oshin." See, that's actually a generation collective memory. Everyone remember it. And if you actually want to start a conversation with someone, this is a good opening. And talking about the reason why is a lot of females are actually the audience for the Asadora. I don't want to say too much about this, because I can't find a very authorized article on this topic. However, that the time when this Asadora is aired is actually when the first aired in the morning. Most is the time for the housewife to sit and to finish to watch it. It's only 15 minutes. When the husband and the child are actually on their way to work and school, and the mom is the only one being left at home actually can finish it. That's, I think, also the reason why this Asadora mainly focus on female story. It's definitely there are some more gender shifts that we can see these days, but I still have to say that it's very targeting female audience. And on the other side, the Sundays TV show time for the taiga drama or the historical drama is mainly targeting the males audience. Here's another history about Japan that was in the past. Sunday was the only day for people to take a break. In the past, Japan was working from Monday all the way to Saturday. And that was only the time males were at home actually watching TV, and only the thing that they're interested in is about historical TV shows. But these years, as we mentioned, that there is a lot of the Asadora TV shows is focusing on males characters, protagonists, and also the taiga drama started finally having some females historical characters history. So there is a shifting, and I think this is definitely going to bring a more gender equality revolution to Japan's TV. But think about actually the TV of something like Asadora brings all the grandparents and parents and children generations all sit together and enjoy the stories, and each generation actually finding something to connect with, which is amazing. That's also the reason why I have a particular a very soft spot for the TV, the Asadora Come Everybody. It was a story about 3 generations females, their story in life. So the values of the Asadora is it's about passion, loyal, and also the importance of the community. This is something that repeatedly showing up in Japan's TV shows. As we all know that we're living this super independent society right now, and a lot of people, they don't believe in the community anymore, and that's the reason why that Asadora seems to take on as their job to promote the value of community to the people, and not to educate, but trying to let them know that there's still the importance of it, and why we still need something called community, and also something called family, I guess. And this is universal, and this is the reason why it resonates with so many people who are living alone or trying their best to have their own family or trying to have a life, and bring this energy to be encouraged by just 15 minutes a daily TV show. It's powerful, and it has its own job to do and draw this important line for a lot of people's life. Based on the conversation that I had with a lot of people who are from different countries, after they learned that I had this thing about watching TVs, they always question me that what made Japanese TV so attractive, and then you just non-stop watching it and you can't even stop talking about it. Oh well, I mean, it is very interesting. Japanese TV channels definitely make better productions, and their TVs are funny and always have the value to watch, and you always feel you learn so much just by watching one single show. So if you're a fan of those Asadoras, that even if you're curious about them, stay tuned. I'm sure, I promise there one day that the world will see the Asadora through some official channels. I really hope, those things that one day it will. I really believe in that. So as we mentioned last time, that after Asadora 101, we will actually start talking about taiga drama, and start from next episode, we will have 1 or 2 episodes to dive into the taiga 101. And hopefully within this year, we can touch on the topic of this year's amazing taiga drama, Hikaru no Kimi e. Thank you for listening for this episode. I hope you're where you're at. You can stay warm and cozy, and we will talk in the next episode at the Thursday Night Kissaten podcast. Thank you, and have a good night.